Bars used to make you go all the way to the left, all the way around to come into the casino, which was right by the front door. They had the casino walled off. You had to go all the way around. You walk through this wall of shops or something like Rolex, Louis Vuitton, Ferragamo, Bruno Magli. 6 months later, I go in there. It's just, Murray Johnson, and I got one Rolex watch there. Dan Reel's, Ferragamo, you got one Ferragamo suit, and it's all other kind of it just, they realized it didn't work. Now you walk in Beau Rivage, you walk right into the casino. They don't give a crap if you go down the Ritz-Carlton had this row of shops, and it was supposed to be like Rolex and all that, and now it's like conference rooms, extra conference rooms. That right side down low, that was supposed to be like these high-end shops, and they were like, it's a Ritz-Carlton. We're going to have these. This is the clientele we get. And it just financially did not work.
Well, they're getting choked off. You know what I mean? They're surrounded by things that are not growth potential areas to bring in other high-end clientele.
The camera shop and the luggage store aren't a positive.
Yeah, no. I go in there and get 3 T-shirts for $10.
Yeah, exactly. With the crappiest stuff on.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Cursing, just not funny.
Those should be about 1 per block. Total,
maybe
surrounded by the rest.
Maybe. I know exactly. I mean, there's not a T-shirt anyone wants. There's not a Mardi Gras mask that's real. There's nothing in there. I mean, that is just, it's beyond junk.
But it's the thought process again. So people could disagree with what you put there, but the protection and the demand that Canal Street is a treasure forever should be a priority.
Yep. We haven't even gotten on specific topics yet. Amazing. We could do this all day.
Yeah.
All we got on was airport expansion, which we agree on. Speaking of airport and traveling, Junket Cantrell's trip to New York City when there was no convention. That was mind-blowing. And then worse, hooked it to like some African-American thing.
Yeah.
And there was no convention. I went to their website. The convention was in April and it was in DC. This is a new level, which again, I'm not going to be shocked or surprised. Like you said, Dan, it's sort of typical on how she operates, but it's, let me make up that there's something in New York because I want to go there for a few days. And that's exactly what this was. Just another junket, but not even some lame mayor's convention excuse that's irrelevant. She made up the convention and it didn't exist. She's a trip.
Yeah.
Unintended.
Really good one there. You think she's going to be a teacher in California in a couple years.
You're making me sick.
No, I know.
I mentioned that all week.
I'm going to come back again. I didn't know that, but I'm going to come back to it just one more time. If you don't think flying to New York and Nice and Saudi Arabia is putting together a resume for being a client or a climate expert and someone, listen, she's going to get an amazing job and it's going to happen. It's a guarantee.
No, you said, I was like, Dan's come on. He made a great point about the mayor. It can't be embarrassed. I've been pouncing on that, no shame, no honor, no integrity. I'm always saying, like, she can't be embarrassed. I think of embarrassing things I did in my past and I'm embarrassed thinking about them. So she can't be embarrassed. And then you made another point, which really made me sick. And there's legs to it. That's what if it was Dan saying she's going to be on the Mars flight, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, Dan, go drink. You know? You made a great point. You were like, some George Soros left-leaning think tank is going to hire her. I mean, right when you said, I was like, what are you talking about? And then I just thought of these hyper woke folks, just 2-term black female mayor of a North American city. It doesn't matter what the resume is. That title is enough for it to work. And if that happens, I am going to get very nauseated.
Yeah. I mean, what we're looking at is a taxpayer blowout of funds by her traveling. Is a resume builder for her.
Wow.
And, that's exactly what it's going to be. I mean, who's asking her for climate advice?
No one. That's why I even think the only reason I think your Soros thing has legs is because of what I said. And I know people don't like me repeating it. Black female mayor, 2-term North American city. They don't care if the city thrived, if it went in the tank. They just see black female, which is rare, of a North American city as mayor. It's not rare, but it's not mainstream. So, that's enough for the resume. The substance is irrelevant, and there is no substance, obviously.
Zero substance. There's a lot of hate there, a lot of just misplaced anger instead of really looking at the job and saying, you know what, I'm the mayor of New Orleans.
You're talking about her with the hate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all,
I don't have time to hate. I don't hate LaToya.
No, me neither. I don't think about her that often, only when we're in here. And then when I see those headlines, I'm like, I don't want her here anyway. I told you a story a few months ago. One of my employees is like, you know, the HR lady from Vegas never comes here. And I'm like, do you want her to be here? Like, do you want her following you around? Absolutely not. So I get your point that she's never bothered to make a trip to New Orleans, but I don't want to entertain her for 48 hours. I'd rather just do our job. I
don't know if I mentioned this last week when you joined us, Dan. First off, Derek Grove's still at large since May. You know, it is unbelievable, but you're going to think this is crazy. And I admit it's a little crazy. I looked at just some photos. He's got some effeminate features. Did we talk about this?
We did not.
No, I'm telling you. You think I'm kidding? Derek Rose, in my opinion, I think he's dressed up as a woman with a bonnet and a dress every day. And he may be in another city by now, and he's dressed as a woman, and no one's even thinking about that. I looked at a picture. I'm like, this guy's got very effeminate features. It would take very little for him to look like a woman.
That's pretty incredible to bring that up. I had not thought of that. I'm usually
I'm not a kook, and I'm not trying to get
I don't think you are. I
just saw the Fox 8 had all the photos with the, you know, captured, and then his. And I was like, he looks sort of feminine. Hey, we're going to take a quick break.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Not a politician or part of a political machine. Corey Johnson.
I propose that I use what's left of the town treasury to move to a more prosperous town and run for mayor.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City, Corey Johnson back at you. Hey, the 4 o'clock hour brought to you by Audubon Gutters. Get it and forget it. I'm talking about the Leaf Guard system. I'll never hire someone to get on a ladder and clean my gutters again. Drew and his crew back in October installed Audubon gutters on my house with the Leaf Guard system. If you own a home or business and you need gutters, Audubon Gutters. For 35 years, the Gulf South's largest, most experienced gutter installation company. What I like about Audubon Gutters, they don't do paint, they don't do roofs, they don't do windows, they don't do siding, soffits, any kind of construction. All they do is gutters. AudubonGutters.com. 4:00 hour brought to you by Audubon Gutters. Dan Reel's with us. The Real Deal. We do it every Tuesday. Yeah, we were talking about Derek Groves still at large since May, and I said I think he's dressed as a woman because he has some effeminate features.
Listen, that's pretty brilliant. How you can stay on the run that long, you can't dismiss that as a possibility.
I
I just admit I never crossed my mind.
No, I post on media just disclaiming it, saying I know this is crazy, and I'm not trying to hope it's true.
Right.
I just said this guy looks a little effeminate and could easily look like a woman with a bonnet and a dress and some makeup. All right. The Elysian Hotel continues to struggle to get built. Originally, it was like 7 stories. I'm fine with that. Now it's 5, and the neighbors are complaining it'll ruin the character of the neighborhood. I mean, Dan, I love the Bywater and the Marigny and all those neighborhoods. I respect those neighbors that have been there a long time.
Yep.
But things change. They don't always stay the same. These folks desperately don't want any change at all, like a lot of New Orleanians. Condos on the riverfront, my God, they're against all of that. It's just like, New Orleans, we don't utilize the river or the lake. There should be tens of thousands of people living on the water. And this little Elysian Hotel, a crusty little corner of Elysian Fields off the river, you wouldn't want your wife, daughter, grandmother, any female, 9 at night, waiting on the corner for you for 15 minutes to go get the car and pick them up, and they stand out there alone.
Yep.
And these people are against this hotel, which I think looks fine. It's on Elysian Fields. It's not blocks into the Marigny. And they're against it, man. And New Orleans cuts off its nose to spite its face all the time.
Yeah, I like to try to stay positive when we're together. But to be honest, when we are negative on some things, it's actually because we want the city to be better than it is. It's not bagging on it for what it doesn't do.
Exactly.
It's bagging on it for what it could be doing and getting in the way of that progress. That's the number one frustration I have of everything in this city. I want to see people that are here willing to progress. And that is not in contrast with protecting the historical landmarks.
Exactly.
But everything cannot be.
No.
Okay. Or
exactly.
maybe it was 200 years ago, but now nobody cares about it. It's not like it's in the middle of a vibrant area and you want to protect this one weird looking
It's
structure.
on Elysian Fields, and it's a lot.
They're complaining
and
over
it's crusty.
25 feet. I mean, this is obnoxious.
It is obnoxious. And it sets the city as a whole back, including Jefferson, North Shore. It's about Metro New Orleans. Now, here's the worst part, Dan. They build the hotel. These same people will be eating at the restaurant, going to that bar, and laying out at the pool at that hotel. I've seen it 100 times. No Whole Food at the bus barn. They shop at the bus barn.
Yep.
No Audubon golf course and tea room and golf pro shop with the restaurant. They're eating at the restaurant with the golf pro shop. No Walmart. They shop at the Walmart. It's going to ruin Magazine Street. They shop on Magazine Street. It's just endless examples of don't want it, and then when they build it, the people that were against it go there. I bet those idiots on Esplanade that were against the Havana Outpost, they're eating at Havana Outpost.
Yeah, I bet. And everybody has a short memory when it comes to what they were objecting. I can tell you when I moved here in 2010, one of the things I wanted to do was start to get some momentum with the business community because we'd been severed for so long. I wasn't here, but when I arrived, they're like, don't even mess around with the hospitality industry here. They don't want to talk to you. And so I said, well, that's just...
You're in the hospitality business.
I said, that's not going to fly. And so what I did was I went back and I looked at the articles back from when we got approved back in the day. And that was obviously done in a manner that should not have a lot of pride. There was some corruption, everything led
Edwin
to it.
Edwards,
yeah,
they say Hemeter, and all these
exactly.
clowns.
But you're sitting there now, and so I go to these meetings with the New Orleans hotel groups, and we'd sit there and I would raise my hand and just say, hey, listen, I just want to be a part of the group. We want to grow here. We want to create jobs. I am coming here. I chose to come here to try to add value. And then I'd have some, a couple people after the meeting come up to me and shake my hand and say, I've been with the hotel all along. We've been rooting for Harrah's. And I looked at the articles from back in the day and it told me exactly who's speaking up, saying, we have too many hotel rooms. We don't need that. We don't need them coming in and
compete against restaurants.
Yes.
And I remember no food in the beginning. I'm like, it's not going to compete against restaurants. The opposite. They'll have their own restaurants, and when they fill them up, they'll be sending the people to your restaurant in New Orleans.
That's what we did, actually. That's why I was able to get everything passed, because we showed them how many people came to the casino and went to their places.
Y'all kept Smith and Walensky open by yourself.
Yeah, we did.
Seriously.
Yeah.
After the casino, they bailed just because they weren't.
Yep.
They were making a profit. I knew all the details, but they wanted to make 10 million a year. They were doing like 5 million a year. You guys were on for north of $1 million.
Yeah, Corey,
sending clients to Smith and Walensky. I used to eat there after my show at like 10 at night, and I'd see all these Harris folks come in, and the guys would tell me, "Oh, Harris got that bill."
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is pretty amazing to look back and look at. I learned a lot during that period of time. You learned who to trust. You learned who you could confide in. And at the end of the day, everybody's rooting for their own projects. And so it became an issue where we're this Vegas outsider coming in to corrupt the city of New Orleans.
Yeah, of course.
Couldn't have been more obvious that was not the case. And for those who are just joining that haven't heard my segment, I've been on here for like 4 months now. We don't sit here and talk about the holiness of Harrah's or Caesar's, right? I don't overdo that. But there are some times
you've never brought it up.
Yeah.
I'm the one that asks you usually. I don't think you've ever arbitrarily just brought it up.
Yeah, and I'm not with them anymore. But what I'll say is I was in those meetings. I was in the meetings with city council members, the mayor, all of the other people going through this journey. And I saw the true colors of everybody, honestly.
This one, I don't want to belabor the point. It's a national headline, Washington Post, mistake to abandon the Mid-Barataria diversion project. I mean, I don't know what kind of example or analogy to bring up, but like 99% of science and bipartisan politicians, they're for the project, and just a small few are against it. So, yeah, I think that's a major mistake. But this Washington Post headline, this whole story wasn't good for New Orleans, Louisiana, and that doesn't make us look good.
I don't put a lot of stock into that, being worried about it. What I'll say is I think it should have happened. I think we should still do it. There was a lot of money that was issued for that purpose.
Over 600 million's been spent.
Yeah, well, and what happened is there are some powerful small groups of special interest that have the ear of Nungesser and Landry, and I don't care what anybody says.
That's exactly right.
That is what happened.
That's right.
Nothing else.
That's right.
Just that.
That is exactly
not
right.
overrun costs. I don't want to hear any of that.
It has nothing to do with that. It's a few dozen oystermen. It's a few dozen fishermen.
Yep.
It's a few dozen politicos and some power players.
That's what it is.
I was saying like about 50 men or so from Plaquemine and Paris that got this nixed.
They did, and I'd love for somebody to challenge me on that.
No, me too. I'd love some investigative reporter like Zurich or someone to
go at it,
break it, and break that whole story down. Hey, the French Quarter Management District approves Ivy Waste through December. So maybe the mayor is going to have, Henry Consulting in there this weekend, but Ivy Waste will be there through December. And here's the funniest part about it. The city's on the hook for both. If, I'm the council, I'm the mayor, I'd be like, okay, they've got it under control with Ivy Waste. We don't need to do Henry Consulting. I'd say, Henry, in a few months, we're going to have an RFP for January of 26 and beyond. Bid on that.
It's obnoxious. Sydney did their job. They earned it. They have it. They should keep it. And Henry should move on. He wasn't ready. He had his own fight going. He caused this, and Sydney came in and did the job. You're done. You got Wally pipped by Lou Gehrig. That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, we're not going back.
But Wally Pipp actually had a bat and ball, and he didn't have to sub it out.
Right.
He didn't have
That's
to sub
true.
it out.
You're right.
Hey, the sheriff, I don't know how Susan Hudson stays in this race.
No.
It's just it keeps snowballing. And the latest and greatest, she releases a violent criminal who's still on the loose by mistake. They almost released the Van Buren guy. You remember one of the escapees that they recaptured?
Yep.
And before he was sent to Angola, they almost mistakenly released him.
This is embarrassing again. She should be gone now.
She should drop out of the race. But I mean, that's honor and integrity and dignity. And
the bigger problem are people like Jason Williams and even the mayoral candidates all not getting to the point where they could say she needs to go. It was all now she needs help. Are you kidding
Jason
me?
Williams endorsed Woodford.
Yeah. Well, that's
when
fine.
he endorsed Hudson the first time.
I know, but am I going to listen to Jason Williams?
No, but my point is Jason Williams, at least I give the guy credit. I think
I give him
carjacking with the mom and I think he's changed he gets it a little bit. I think what he ran on isn't what he believes anymore. That's just my thoughts.
Listen, I can't say I'm right and you're wrong. What I'll tell you is that's my opinion about what's going on. And my opinion is he has let people back out on the street that don't belong. He has not charged people for crimes that they were known to have commit. And they just don't put the time in and be able to make sure that these people get put away. And instead, they have these progressive policies. I don't mind progressive policies if it has to do with climate, sexuality, anything like that. You start having progressive with policies about jail. This isn't the 1960s,
that's
my friend.
The police.
Yeah, that's right.
Mentality.
Get out of the way. So it makes me sick, Corey, to see these people be in a situation where we're having people break out of the jail and then have this guy let go and still not be found. I mean, I got to give him credit. If I got out of jail and I didn't know what was happening, you'd find me in 5 hours. I'd have to figure out what to do.
Exactly.
The guys that broke out at least had a plan. They had people picking them up and they were going. If they just said, hey, Real, let's go. You're out. And I got to go. What am I doing? Where am I going? You know what I mean?
That guy had to just be chuckling as he walked out at like 1 a.m. too.
Why
the sense of urgency at 1 a.m?
Yeah. Well,
it seems like a 9 to 5. It's daylight. Everyone's alert.
Yeah.
There's multiple people working it, so nothing can slip through the crack, but hell bent on a 1 a.m. release.
Listen,
1 a.m. It's mind blowing.
My takeaway for this whole thing goes back to the politicians and the DA, fair or not. They don't, not one of them said she should be out of the race and let go.
No one.
They are saying, Helena said today or yesterday, it shows a sign of strength to ask for help.
And I think even said she thought she had leadership skills or something like that.
It's unbelievable. You don't think to ask for help at this point. You think about it before you get into trouble. If you're a leader, people with poor skills do what just happened, and then not to dismiss it as this is unacceptable. They say that on one hand, and then they've got no bark left in their bite when they say what should happen to her. I don't care if it's about color. There are other African-American people in the city and state that can run that jail.
Yeah, color and
female
has nothing to do. The last sheriff was black.
Yep. And I don't care about it in the least.
He's an Ivy League guy.
I just want somebody that's going to keep people in jail that belong and have a system in place where these things don't happen. It's unacceptable to have a guy running out on the street that has the background of him and Groves. It's just a joke.
No, you're right. Dangerous felons running around. Coming right back.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole-Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
As New Orleans as coffee in the morning and as New Orleans as coffee in the morning and raw oysters for lunch. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Dan, I don't know if we've ever gotten into Ukraine-Russian war too much. I mean, I think I think Biden half-assed it. I think he should have been more aggressive with, aid. Trump seems to be on board now. The latest and greatest, that 50-day gimmick. You got to, Putin's got to get this thing settled in 50 days. We're going to have some very harsh sanctions. He lowered it to like 2 weeks, Trump.
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic. It's like, let's get this thing moving. So sanction the hell out of Russia and supply, at the very least, Zelensky with all the defensive weapons that you can come up with. And I think some offensive weapons as well. I mean, Putin's a madman and he's not going to stop. He gets what he wants in Ukraine. He's going to go somewhere else.
What an awful waste of humanity in that whole area. I mean, what is the fight over? You know what I mean? It's over land. It's ridiculous. Russia doesn't even use, I think I read something, they don't even use 40% of the land mass that they have already. Some of it obviously is inhabitable, but the bottom line is they're fighting and people are dying every day. People are starving. And I'm not a peacenik, but I'll tell you that this war, there's no normal end to this. So you can't fight it out and someone's going to give in.
Putin thought he was going to go in there and within a few weeks, it would be over with, like Bush going into Gulf War I in 91.
Right.
And in a few weeks would be over with. They'd have that land. He'd be stronger around the world and feared in Europe. And there's that.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go that way. Now he's stuck.
I prefer Trump's method of dealing with Putin versus what the others have done in the past, because they just sort of avoid antagonizing him and just stay away from Russia altogether. But the bottom line is that you have to deal with this guy, like 2 rams, batter the heads and get him to back off, because otherwise there's no way he is going to admit defeat or retreat in front of his own people. And at the same time, that's what should be happening. They should both be retreating and start recovering from what's going on, because all that's going to happen between now and whenever it does come to an end is more pain, death, and destruction.
A lot of folks say, the media is all over Trump all the time. I kind of disagree. I think kind of the media gives Trump a break. Like, this is typical contradiction. It's like tariffs and then pulling them back. It's, Putin's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's honorable. I trust him, blah, 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 blah. Zelensky's a problem. All that. And then he flip-flops it around and then even says like, Putin talks a good game and he ends up not telling the truth. It's like, we've all known that since day one, Donald. What took you so long to get on board? So I think the president kind of catches a lot of slack, to be honest, with the media, because I'll tell you where I think Trump is a super genius, and his advisors and Trump have to be on board. This can't just be a natural thing. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just subconscious and natural. He's learned this trait his whole life. He keeps the ping pong balls bouncing. Like, you're going to focus in on that. He's got another one bouncing. He says something the next day that's crazier or nuttier or legitimate and just controversial. And it's all the time. So you're focusing on Monday. Dan, we're on Tuesday. Quit wasting your time with Trump on Monday.
Well, I think that's part of the tactics. I think what he tried to do was butter up Putin as much as he can, and nobody else could gain the respect from Putin that America can. And so he goes in there.
And he's had a previous relationship with him.
And as it turns out, they weren't in bed in 2016 like we were told. But at the end of the day, the guy is a terror. He is a scumbag. And he should be treated with nothing but ill will from everybody around the country, around the world. And I think the EU is finally getting ready to start going back in the right direction. They're becoming united over this immigration issue that's going on in Europe right now. And I think some of the leaders that are starting to come to the top of the tickets in some of the countries are going to be more formidable. So I have a lot of hope that it's not just going to have to be us that figures out how to get these people out of this situation. I think you're going to see people like Orban and Meloni from Italy. She's fantastic. There's some other people that are really taking this on now, and they're not going to be taken advantage of by Russia or China anymore. At least that's my view.
Dan Reel's with us, The Real Deal with Dan Reel. Hey, Dan, Clinton did this. Trump does it, is now doing it, encouraging, public coworkers to talk about their religious beliefs. I go to this gym, Stacked Coaching on River Road. I have Bradley Schneller on, the owner, on Thursdays. We talk about fitness and nutrition. Been going there about a year and a half. I swear, never have I ever heard anyone say Trump, Biden, Harris. Election day Tuesday, I went in. No one mentioned the election. I swear, I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
Never heard anyone talk religion. I've never seen any kind of T-shirt, Trump, Harris, Black Lives Matter, Police Matter, defund police. Never seen anything. Like, the lack of religion in politics makes it such a great environment. And Clinton did it like 25 years ago. Trump's now doing it. I think this is just political nonsense to appease religious zealot types. I'm religious. I believe in God. I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic New Orleans boy. That's my faith. That's my business. I don't think in a public place you'd be sitting there pushing religion and things of that nature. Religion. And I mean, my mom never told me this, but what's the old saying, Dan? Your mom says, don't talk religion or politics with people.
Yes. Well, I would tell you that I don't want it when I was running the casino, for example. I don't want it in any of my casinos. I don't want a lot of things. I don't want you walking the halls of the casino selling your daughter's Girl Scout cookies either. This is not a place for any of that stuff. We're here to work.
That's a great example. Don't want them selling the Girl Scout cookies.
I don't want to have to worry every day. Somebody's coming up and banging on.
It's Harris. It's Caesars.
That's
it's
right.
Your place.
We're here to work. We're here to do the right thing.
Do the job for the people.
Yes, you're respected. You go on your break. Enjoy your break. You don't have to be hit up with things that you don't want to deal with. And it was the same thing, whether it was the union environment. You still don't talk about that at the lunch table. It's not allowed here. You're able to do that.
And the Harris Sin Night, they're going to a bar after a restaurant. Talk religion and politics all you want.
All night. But you're not bringing in
the Girl Scout cookies at the bar.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't want to deal with that. Even as the boss, somebody coming in, what am I going to do? Tell them no? But I have 2,500 people here. They all have reasons. They want to collect things from you, like jackets and all that. So we do property coat drives. We do property things for the Girl Scouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't bring it into the business.
No, I think it's appeasing religious zealots. And I don't know. I think Clinton did it and Trump did it. So it's Democrats and Republicans.
Religion is a powerful group in this country. And, they have an earpiece. Or they have a mouthpiece, but they also get ears put on their views in this country, and I think they're winning out.
Dan, always a pleasure, man. Love having you on the program every Tuesday.
Glad to be here. Hope to be back next Tuesday and keep it going.
I hope you're back here, man. At worst, via the phone line, right?
Oh, for sure. One way or the other, I'll be here.
Exactly. I like having in studio. It's best.
All right, man.
There's Blue Boy barking up a storm. Yeah, The Real Deal with Dan Reel every Tuesday in the 4 o'clock hour, knocking back a slew of topics. Hey, the 5 o'clock power hour's next. If I were you, I would not go anywhere. Talking about a slew of topics, it continues, including the French Quarter trash contract. I got the latest and greatest on that and more. Don't move.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Boy, that was a mistake, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. You know, want to know what this mistake was?
What's that?
I walked Dan Reel to his car in the parking lot.
That's what I thought you were getting at.
Jeez and Pete's, dude. It's a scorcher out there.
It's bad, dude.
It's bad. This is as bad as it gets around here.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, temperatures like 97. Why don't you go to weather.com and fill us in? Be Bob Breck, who you have no idea who that is, Mario, since you're only 30.
I know Bob Breck. He's a legend.
come on. How do you know Bob Breck?
They used to have him at halftime of all the Pelican/Hornets games.
Wow. These reasons why Mario Brothers knows. I mean, it's stuff like, Buddy Alberto, I remember him as the Domino's pizza guy. Like, what? That was like the 1% of his life, the last part. I don't remember that, but I saw the commercial. Wow.
Yeah, it was cool.
Wow. All right, so what? It's 97 degrees?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
97 degrees is the temperature. So I'm guesstimating the feels like's $110.
112.
112. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
97 degrees.
Nah, man.
Feels like 112. That's brutal.
Yeah.
No wonder I was sweating walking when I was literally outside for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking on Dan's forehead and he's got sweat beads on him. Like, get in the car and crank up the AC, dude.
Man, I hope there's nobody playing football like on the way home because this is like 2 days time.
No, this is correct. Back in the day, they'd give you salt pills and like no water.
Yeah.
And it'd be like 3 or 4 a days.
Yeah,
they were
dude.
crazy. How players did not die more often, or maybe they died like a few weeks later and no one put it together to football practice.
Yeah, football in 80s and 90s is wild, man.
But I'm talking like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s even.
Yeah,
but you're right. 70s and 80s, it was all like 2 a days, 3 a days, no water, salt pills. It's like, it's the opposite. Why don't you have them drink some alcohol?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why don't you have them booze up? 97 degrees feels like 112 in Metro New Orleans right now. I would stay inside in air conditioning. I'm not kidding. I got to walk my dog, Tolly. We love walking. I'm going to take him for a walk later today. About 7:45, I'll take him for a walk. Literally. He's ready to go like 6:45, 7. I'm like, no, buddy. Be sweating through my shirt. And at 7:45, it's a 50-50 chance I'll be sweating when I'm bringing him back. Yesterday, there was this little breeze. I wasn't sweating, but it wasn't like, oh, this is great. I'll stay out here a while. Did I mention it's 97 degrees, feels like $112, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx?
Nope.
All right, I'm going to mention that then. It's 97 degrees, and it feels like 112 out there. Stay hydrated. Agua, water, H2O. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, fielding your phone calls at 766-9480 if you want to dial us up. If you caught that last hour, a lot of topics Dan and I were throwing out. The Real Deal with Dan Real. A lot of topics. Every week, 4 o'clock hour, Tuesday, throw out about a dozen topics. Dan's a reasonable, rational, common sense type guy, but that doesn't mean we agree on everything. I'd say we probably agree about 70% of the time. But then there's a good, 1/3 or so that we probably either are a little disagreement or major opposite sides. Hey, the 5 o'clock power hour this afternoon brought to you by Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. They're open for dinner right now. They just opened up for the evening. Lunch Tuesday through Friday, dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. Make this the week. We're about to fade from July into August. Soon you're going to have fall and football, the kids, going back to school, all that. While you got a little time right now, while you can, make that easy drive across the lake, do it this week, do it tonight. You won't be disappointed. The exact opposite. You'll be like, Corey started a new habit for me. I love Gallagher's 527, and it's going to be kind of one of those regular stops on our little restaurant list. I got about a dozen restaurants that I go to regularly. Literally, I'm there about once a week, once every 2 weeks at worst. Gallagher's 527 has made that list. It's that good, and it's easy to get to. You cross the causeway immediately on your right behind that Shell station, right by the Aquista Pace Grocery. Gallagher's 527 East Causeway approach. So good. Start like I do. At lunch, I get gumbo. I get that crab meat St. Francis appetizer, and I get the shish kebab chunks just sizzling in butter. Fantastic. Dinner, maybe get a sweet potato casserole for a side. Get the incredible seafood merlaton as a side. Get a steak. Get some local fresh seafood. You won't be disappointed. I'm not kidding when I say this. Clearly one of Metro New Orleans' best restaurants. A great dining experience. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Get there this week. You won't be sorry. You'll thank me. The Times-Picayune, they had an article, Louisiana residents moving to this state the most. I'm like, it's got to be Texas. It is. Houston's the #1 city where New Orleanians move to, followed by Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio. Then they had a sub-article that came out a few weeks ago, a month or so ago, about 40,000 people in the last 5 years have left Metro New Orleans. And actually, that number needs to be corrected. It's 40,000, not including the North Shore. That's scary. Metairie, New Orleans, Orleans Parish, St. Bernard, 40,000 people have left in the last 5 years. That's about 4% of our population. 4%. We've got about 1 million folks, roughly, on the South Shore of Metro New Orleans. So we've lost 40,000 people, 4% of our population. Of all the cities that are losing population the most, number 2 is like 2%. Number 3 is like 2%. We're more than double what all these losing cities are averaging. They're like at 2%. We're 4%. 40,000. Now, the North Shore has gained about 13,000 residents. I'd venture to say most of them, 12,000 plus, are from the South Shore. They're not folks that moved in from Atlanta or Dallas or Houston or Denver for opportunity. Some, but I would say of the 13,000, my guess would be 12,000 plus came from the South Shore to the North Shore. So when you include the North Shore in Metro New Orleans, which I still do, it's still a net loss of about 27,000. 40,000 lost on the South Shore, 13,000 gained on the North Shore. It's a Metro New Orleans loss of about 27,000 people in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years. You know what's scary about that? Places that I mention all the time, like Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, they have 6 figures of growth each and every year. North of 100,000 people move into Houston, Dallas, Atlanta metro. North of 100,000 a year. Dallas does about $150 a year, 150 a year. Like every 5, 6, 7 years, Dallas grows by 1 million people in the metro. Just unprecedented growth. New Orleans, the exact opposite. For about 45 years now, 40 plus for sure, early 80s, we've been stagnant, if not on a downward slide. Not to beat a dead horse, 1970 census, Metro New Orleans crossed 1 million people for the first time. We had just over 1 million in Metro New Orleans, 1970. By 1980, we grew by 300,000 folks. We went from 1 million in 1970 to 1.3 million by 1980. 30% growth in the decade of the 70s in Metro New Orleans. In the last 45 years, we're at about 1.2 million in the metro instead of 1.3. We've actually lost a little population, maybe 50, 60,000 folks in the last 45 years, where these other metros like Houston, Atlanta, Dallas are gaining 1 million folks every 7 to 10 years. 1 million. Dallas Metro will surpass Chicago as the 3rd largest metro area in the United States within the next 5 to 7 years. Chicago's kind of stagnant, and Dallas has booming growth. So it'll be New York Metro #1, Los Angeles Metro #2, Dallas Metro #3, Chicago 4. And then if things continue, Chicago will fall to 5 because Metro Houston will pass Chicago in about the next decade if trends continue. Now, the Times-Picayune article, which state are New Orleanians moving to mostly? No, Texas. That's pretty obvious. Hey, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, Major League Baseball is going to Bristol Motor Speedway. You saw that? They're going to have a record crowd. I think the largest crowd they ever had, I think it was at Cleveland Stadium, like in the 50s.
Yeah.
84,000 checked out an MLB game.
Wow.
They've sold 85,000 at the Speedway, the racetrack.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Dome with standing room only, you could do 85,000.
Yeah.
Because LSU, for those national title games, they had 80,000 plus in seats.
Mm-hmm.
sitting down. So, I mean, you have like some standing rooms in the plaza on the corners, you know?
Yeah.
You bring out those old plaza seats that come off the front of the plaza, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
I think you could get 85,000 people in the Superdome for a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah, you could. They used to do that for basketball too.
Set a record crowd. No, exactly. Dale Brown, they had the record crowd for college for a while in the Dome. And when the Dome was originally built in the 70s, and Major League Baseball wasn't like, that's ridiculous, we'll never do that. They were talking about it and then ultimately decided against it. But Dave Dixon was like, have the World Series at the Superdome every year. Yeah. Have it a neutral site at the Dome. And Major League Baseball was like, interesting. 7-game World Series in New Orleans every year. And then they decided, home and home. But they actually thought about it for a minute.
Entertained it.
Yep. No, I think the Dome could hold 85,000 for an MLB game. Corey Johnson with you. 766-9480 is how you dial us up.
Total maintenance keeps you cool.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City. Hey, Marigny, Bywater, Treme, French Quarter, CBD, Warehouse District, Garden District, Irish Channel. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
97 degrees, feels like 112 right now in Metro New Orleans. 97 feels like 112. That's crazy. That's very dangerous. I mean, if you know elderly folks, or folks with health issues that don't have air conditioning where they live, go pick them up right now. Take them to dinner. Take them to the grocery store. Take them to the community center. Anywhere where there's air conditioning, Walmart, Target, wherever. Take them to dinner. Too hot. 97 degrees feels like 112. Stay hydrated. Lots of water. Lots of water. The EPA is going to repeal findings that climate pollution endangers human health. Just delusional deregulation. You have basically the EPA rescinding science that greenhouse emissions endanger human health. EPA Chief Lee Zeldin, this quote is amazing to me. This is such misinformation, such nonsense. Anyone educated, anyone that just has a slight idea of what the environment's about would find this utterly ridiculous. They say carbon dioxide is a pollutant, and that's the end of it. They'll never acknowledge it's important, that it's important for our planet. Carbon dioxide, in having too much of it, an abundance of it, is a pollutant. That's a fact. So it's not, they'll say carbon dioxide is a pollutant and that's the end of it. No, that isn't the end of it. They're the liberals, when I talk about liberals and conservatives, I talk about, the dairy farmers, the meatpacking plants, the fruit and dairy farmers, the pig, slaughterhouses, pork, chicken, whatever. They're all conservative owned. They're conservative owned. Mostly. Are there liberal folks that own these farms? Some, not many. Are there conservative scientists? Sure, not many. Most scientists are liberal. So they say carbon dioxide is a pollutant and that's the end of it. No, these scientists are scientists. They look at science. They look at facts. They take as many facts as they can, as many fact-based logical conclusions as they can, and try to come up with some fact-based, answers. They take logical fact-based premises, and those add up to logical fact-based conclusions. They say carbon dioxide is a pollutant, and that's the end of it. No, that isn't the end of it. They say it's a pollutant when it's overused. They'll never acknowledge any kind of benefit. Too much carbon monoxide, there's no benefit. Obviously, everybody knows how, plants take in oxygen, they, take in carbon dioxide, they emit oxygen. We all knew, we learned this stuff like 3rd, 4th grade. So yeah, carbon dioxide is part of the planet. So is lead and acid and, uranium and plutonium. Too much of it, though, is a major problem. So to dismiss it, they'll never acknowledge any kind of benefit. No, they'll acknowledge every kind of benefit. They're scientists. They know that it has to be there. It's important to note, and they don't, just how important it is to the planet. They acknowledge all of that. But this is, liberals do it all the time. This is the right-wing wacko rhetoric that gets right-wing wackos that want to dismiss both sides of the argument, gets them foaming at the mouth. This is the EPA director. That's what's mind-blowing. This is the Environmental Protection Agency. I love all this stuff about, man, you want the EPA to worry about the economy, It's like Jeff Landry says that. You want DEQ to balance jobs and the economy. No, you don't. I don't want the Department of Defense in a war worrying about the economy. I want them fighting the war. I don't want them going, well, we really need 100 missiles to defeat Hitler, but because it's not economically sound right now for us and could hurt us in the future economically, we're only going to make 50. No, you're going to make 100 and defeat Hitler. I don't want the Department of Defense worrying about anything but defense. I don't want the EPA worrying about anything but the environment. Why is this so hard for extreme left and extreme right to acknowledge and embrace? The left, they don't like the Department of Defense. I mean, these are the defund police kooks. And then you got the right that think like any kind of regulation's bad. A stop sign, a red light is regulation. Get rid of those and watch how many accidents will happen. I mean, we, of all folks in Louisiana, we should know the exact good and bad of regulations. The BP oil disaster in 2010, that's a great example of overlooking regulations, where mostly like Dick Cheney, the VP, with the BP folks, oil industry, they don't want an accident any more than we do. They don't want an accident any more than we do. That only hurts their bottom line, a blowout or a major accident. But when the inmates are running the asylum and there are 10 regulations to follow and they're following them, and then someone goes, the chance of so-and-so happening is so rare. We could skip 7 and 8 and just go from 6 to 9. We don't need to do the regulation list numbers 7 and 8. So they start cutting corners, and then you have the BP disaster. And then same thing. You get Barack Obama and the Democrats in. We're going to ban offshore drilling till we get control of this. There's no reason to ban offshore drilling. We've been doing it safely for decades. We'll continue to do it. Just got to follow the regulations. Can't have the inmates running the asylum. Don't have to up the regulations because of the disaster. Just have to follow the regulations. So you got like a Dick Cheney, kind of a hardcore right-winger. Ignore the regulations, essentially. The BP doesn't want a disaster any more than we do. And then you've got the Democrats, when Obama was there, we got to ban offshore drilling till we get control of this. No, we don't. We know how to do it. So one, no regulation. The other, over-regulation. You just need regulation. We need regulation. Folks that think that's a bad word don't know what they're talking about. It's part of capitalism. It's part of America. It's part of how things work. Without regulation, everything goes in the crapper. Overregulation, major problem. Equal and opposite of underregulation, major problem. That's it. Simple, easy. Anyway, the EPA, allowing polluters to pollute in Louisiana more than they already do. I mean, anyone has confidence in the Department of Environmental Quality in Louisiana? Like, boy, they're tough on the oil and gas and chemical industry. They're really looking out for the citizens. That's never been the case. They've always been essentially like prostituting themselves out to the oil and gas and chemical industry. One could easily argue in Louisiana, the oil and gas and chemical industry control the Department of Environmental Quality. No, this stuff's so easy. The EPA, I want an environmentalist running the EPA, not somebody I'm balancing the environment with jobs. And the Department of Defense, I want some military person running it, not some dove that, we could build 20 public schools with the cost of that one missile. These things are easy, commonsensical. It's the extremes that screw it up for us. And when you have the EPA chief, Lee Zeldin, EPA chief for the United States, they'll say carbon dioxide is a pollutant, and that's the end of it. Who says that? No liberal scientist says that. They say too much carbon dioxide's a pollutant. And we've seen like NASA footage of like the ozone hole from 40 years ago growing and now shrinking because we've cut back on CO2 emissions. They'll say carbon dioxide is a pollutant, and then that's the end of it. They'll never acknowledge any kind of benefit. No, they acknowledge the benefit all the time. They fully understand how oxygen is produced, plants, carbon dioxide, all of it. It's important to note, and they don't, how important it is for the planet. Absolutely a ridiculous statement by Lee Zeldin, the EPA chief, strictly to appease not conservative Republicans, wacky right wingers that think all regulations bad and think, jobs over any kind of, preserving a forest or trees or wildlife or the environment. I mean, it's 2025. We can have both. We can be stewards of our planet and be good human beings with a conscience and be hardcore capitalists trying to make a buck. We've been doing it. We can do both. It's not one or the other. 766-9480. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, always wearing the sports garb. He's got on a New Orleans Super Bowl shirt right now. That one's pretty cool, Mario Brothers, with the balcony. Was that like an official logo, or that's just that was some kind of
it was.
That wasn't like the official Super Bowl logo, but it was like a New Orleans-like logo for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and you can see it in the silhouette, the shirt you described. It's like
no, it's killer. It's like a balcony with like plants hanging, and then underneath it's Super Bowl and NOLA, and then like NOLA is written like on the poles holding up the balcony. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a gift. It's a nice shirt.
That is a good shirt.
Appreciate you noticing.
Yep. Gotta like that.
Fun Super Bowl.
That was a good Super Bowl. We did it right. And hopefully Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, they do what they say. We're going to get that like 31 or 32 game. Yeah. These 10, 12, 13-year gaps are ridiculous. Everything goes through a phase. The NFL is bringing on new teams. The NFL is building new stadiums. They want to appease those folks, placate those folks. Other cities like Vegas now, they're becoming Super Bowl cities. Los Angeles again. They're always going to get games. Dallas has such a magnificent stadium. They're going to get games. But after a decade or two of that, they're like, boy, going to these Anywhere USA places like Dallas sucks.
Yeah.
No one wants to go on vacation to Dallas. No one on planet Earth, hey, we're going to Dallas for a week for vacation. No one. No one.
Yeah, true.
So a Super Bowl there kind of sucks for the media and the fans.
Yes.
Compared to a city like Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Miami, New Orleans, where there's culture and fun things to do.
Well said.
Yeah, no. So I think the trend's flipping back the other way, which means we'll get one sooner than later.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.